There we go. There we go. Thank you, sir.
Yes,
All
sir.
right. We are moving into an entirely different space, guys. I was speaking with a gentleman last night who was telling me about all of the different situations that's taking place on the COVID. COVID. It seems to be a resurgence. We were talking about resilience. We were talking about leadership. We were talking about, of course, business and branding and what that looks like in this space. So we're trying to, not trying to, the world is trying to kind of grasp what's going on. And in the middle of trying to grasp what's going on, you got a lot of people clamoring for attention and a lot of businesses trying to brand themselves sort of like in a almost like a sense of desperation. If you look on social media, you're going to see a widespread sense of desperation. It's like everybody's trying to sell everything. It's like a flash sale or what they used to call a fire sale. So everybody's trying to just sell anything they can. So it's almost like the wild wild west out here, where people who have popped up out of the ground and they've they're trying to position themselves as experts in anything just to try to make a fast sale or a flash sale or a fire sale. So it's very important that in this space that you remember integrity, honor, discipline, and resilience. Be resilient. There has to be a plan. That without if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And that's what I want to talk about this morning when it comes to the brand and the business. So there's people that actually are talking about the brand and trying to position themselves to make a sale or earn money, but they forgot that people don't give away money for free. People don't give away money for free. So you have to be valid. You have to earn that. And to be able to earn that, you have to be in a position of authority. You have to be who you say you are, and you have to do what you say you're going to do. And a lot of these interesting times call for peace. They call for patience. They call for leadership. Hand over fist. They call for leadership because leadership keeps a cool head in uncertain times, in turbulent times. And that's what we're looking at. We're looking at very, very uncertain and turbulent times. There are people that are still, so it's kind of hard to position yourself as an authority and be an ambassador for a product or a brand when you're really relying on federal aid or a stimulus. And that's kind of what's taking place. So people are positioning themselves unauthentically because lack is apparent. When there's desperation, lack is apparent. Lack of resolve, lack of consistency, continuity. There's a lot of we went from crickets to digits in the midst of a pandemic, right? So, but we looking and we're watching grasshoppers hop from this product to that product, and this thought to that thought, and this brand to that brand, and people are really like uncertain, and it's just like I said, and when I began, kind of like the wild wild west. It's kind of like the wild wild west, and you see the desperation, you hear the desperation on the discovery calls. If you're having discovery calls right now with potential clients who are trying to build a business, perhaps own a business, trying to go into business, trying to pivot into this online economy, which is a real thing, it's a real online economy, and there is a lot of money to be had, a lot of opportunity to be, I don't want to say taken advantage of because that might give the wrong impression. So there's a lot of opportunity to be met. Let me say that. There's a lot of opportunity to be met. But in order to meet a host, if you're having guests over, there's a specific way that you're supposed to position yourself and prepare yourself to receive guests. And this is what people have not done. They haven't done the homework. They're not really ready to receive guests. So, and when you're having these discovery calls, you're seeing that people are coming more and more desperate, more and more desperate, more and more impacted. You know, people's lives are being lost, and there is a situation of uncertainty. There's a lot of people that we've spoken to that were waiting for the stimulus, you know, and then when it came out as what it came out to be, there was a loud groan, like from the gallery. You know, they're saying that it's cut in half, and you know, how does that look? And everybody's looking for some kind of economic gain and tax relief. A lot of things going on out here. So in the midst of this, if you're trying to create or take ownership of or present a true to life brand and a stable and sustainable business in this new economy and this new climate, it is very important that you have what we call plan, a plan in place. And it's that time of year again where everybody talks about resolutions and New Year's and what they're going to do different. Coming into 2020, everybody had a plan. Not everybody, but for the most part, there was some kind of idea of what was going to happen in 2020. People are, even the ones that aren't planners, they're well wishers. So they were wishing well on themselves in 2020, and they had a long idea, a long goal, what they wanted to get accomplished. And then February happened. And then March happened. And it really kind of broke their plan in half, and they had to find themselves or find a new version of themselves in that situation. What situations like that are supposed to do is they're supposed to pull out the best version of yourself. Some people, it didn't do that. It pulled out, in times of desperation, your true self will show up. Let me say that. In times of desperation, your true self will show up. So there were a lot of people who had to put their business model down. And in the sense of desperation, they kind of just went all out to find something. And they tried to throw something against the wall, throw anything against the wall and see what sticks. Right? So moving into 2021, there have been some brands and businesses that have deflated, completely collapsed in this economy. And they're trying to recreate themselves over and over and over and over again. It's almost like watching a dead animal on the highway try to get to the curb. They're doing everything that they can to get out of harm's way. And in doing that, they don't really, there's not a lot of consideration about who is in the way of that. So it's very important that you stay stable as a brand, that you stay stable as a business owner, and that you operate from a seat of integrity and honor, discipline, code, morals, values, and principles, because there is a good chance that you're going to encounter the opposite. And one way to stay stable moving into 2021 is to have a plan. Have a plan, even in the seat of uncertainty. It's very important that we have a plan. So this is what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to give you a couple different steps, three main areas in which to plan. So you can start, so that you can go into 2021 with a sense of calm, a sense of certainty, because when you have a plan, at least you have that. No matter what happens outside of you. So there's there's a construct called locus of control. Locus of control is focusing on what you can control and leaving what you cannot control to something bigger than yourself, whatever your belief system may be. A brand, remember that a brand is an experience. So when people come across you, when they come into contact with you, they come into contact with your brand, your touch, your feel, your texture. What do people think about? What is their experience and what do they leave with when they come into contact with your brand? Which means when they come into contact with you, because you are your brand. That is something that you can control. Everybody's focused on external results. They're putting the money before meaningfulness. They're putting the profit before purpose. They're putting the valuation before the value. And that's backwards because what is outside of you, you cannot control. What is inside of you, you can control. And the only way for you to properly have a chance to control what is outside of you is by you controlling what is inside of you. So for that, I'm going to show you some outside plans, some outside goals, but some inside work. Because that's what this economy is going to take. That's what this situation is going to take. It's going to take inside work. So congratulations to everybody that's working on themselves, that's doing the self-work and not being caught up in what the last news flash was, because I'm going to give you a news flash. No matter what happens outside of you, you are responsible for what happens inside of you, the decisions that you make, the claims that you make, the way that you feel, that is on you. And the way that you make others feel, that is on you as well. So you want to hold yourself to the highest standards of integrity, honor, discipline, code, morals, values, and principles. And then, in proportion to that, your people, other people, your potential clients, your potential customers will see that. It will resonate with them. And then after that impression, after deepening that impression by being the same person over and over again, then you will begin to receive the fruits of your labor. Not before, not a moment before. So hold tight. It's a little rocky. It's okay. We've seen rocky times before. We've seen economic shifts before. And we've seen balance restored. But what we have also seen is people destroy their names, destroy their business, and literally lose their mind in the balance, waiting for that to happen. So we're going to get started right now. I'm going to give you a plan, a surefire plan that you can use to make a healthy transition for your business, for yourself, and for your relationship to your customer and your audience. They say CYA. Right now, the CYA is BYA. That's how you CYA right now, by BYA, and that's building your audience. Building your audience. That's how you're going to CYA right now. You have to do that through long-term relationships, and you have to do that by being authentic leadership. So let me get down off the soapbox. I just wanted you guys to really get a look at what's really taking place out here from this perspective, because when you're sitting at a specific vantage point, you're able to see things that some other people may not be able to see. And then if you're on the outside of it, you may be seeing some things that you feel like you're the only person seeing, but you're not. So I just wanted to let you know that, yes, it is true. It is, it's interesting right now, to say the least. Very interesting. But even in that unrest, there is opportunity for you if you can have discipline, be patient, and be resolved. Operate from a seat of resilience. So let me share my screen real quick, and we're going to get into this brand plan. We're going to get into what strategy is, because without a plan, strategy it's not going to happen. Okay, so here we go. If you guys can see my screen, just put it in the chat for me real quick, and we're going to start. 3, 2, 1. 30, 60, 90-day brand plan. I am your host, Sean Wright East. This is the Alien Call. If you guys are up right now trying to concentrate on your brand, trying to concentrate on your business, that shows me that you're a little bit different than everybody else. While people are sleeping, while the world is asleep, you're awake. And not only are you awake, but you're awake with a focus. You're awake with a vision. You're awake trying to walk out your mission and your purpose in your brand and in your business. And we have to understand, again, like I said before, the brand is you and you are the brand. A business's goal and a business's lifeblood is revenue. Write this down because I'm going to give you something right now that is worth $1 million and more. This is absolutely priceless. A business's bottom line and lifeblood. A business's lifeblood, bottom line, and life is based on revenue. A brand's lifeblood, revenue, bottom line, and lifespan is based on reputation. So a business depends on revenue. A brand depends on reputation. So this is almost like a reputation economy. People are doing business with people who they can trust. People are doing business with brands that get results. And if you're not getting results right now, if you're not seeing results in your business, it's because your brand lacks the reputation. People do not believe you. And maybe there's good reason. But I'm going to show you a way to set your reputation plan up. I'm going to show you how to follow a pattern of set actions that will become habits, that will become your reputation, so that you can be known for something, and hopefully that something is what you intend. So this is how this is how one goes from all over the place to intentional and deliberate. I know you hear those words often, but a lot of times people don't know what they mean. So let's get into this. Let's get into the plan. So every year goals have been set. Goals are set every year. They call them New Year's resolutions, and this is no different than anyone else. I just want you to get into the sense and the mindset of 30, 60, 90. 30, 60, 90. You want to have goals for 30 days? You want to have goals? So there should be goals that you have that must be done by January. They should tie into February, and they should tie into March. If not, you're going to be scattered by whatever comes on the news. This is how people are impacted by the latest death toll or the latest news on the stimulus or the new strand of corona, because they don't have a plan. Your plan is your life raft. Your plan is your anchor. So when the stormy waters come, you're still rooted. You're still standing on solid foundation, and it doesn't shake you. It doesn't make you say, oh, and send out a emotional post in a last-ditch effort to gain some attention in the marketplace. That is not the right move. It's not the right move. And when you send out a post like that, or you put together a promotion like that, or you try to release a product like that, it is embedded with your frequency. It is embedded with your sense of desperation, and everybody feels it. So if you're posting and you're not getting a response, it's not because people don't know what you're doing. They see what you're doing. They just don't resonate with you. They just don't resonate with you. In 2020, in the time of the worst calamity that most people on this call can remember, some businesses exploded in a good way. Mine was one of them. And I want to set you up to experience a business explosion, the good kind, in 2021. So what does this look like? So every year you set goals. The reason most people don't achieve them is because they only check on them once a year. Think about how many people get gym memberships. Think about how many people are going to stop smoking, stop drinking coffee, start working out again, start running again, start spending time with the family in January. That's the plan. In December, coming into January, that's the plan. And by March, they don't even remember what those goals were. They don't even remember what those goals were. Why? Because life shows up. And life was showing up in 2018 to 2019 and 2017 to 2018. Regular life situations were concerned as volatile and hostile environments. And then 2021 came, and they realized that they had no idea what a hostile environment is. Now, this is a hostile environment. And you still have to set a plan and stick to a plan if you have any chance or hope at getting ahead in your business and transitioning from a business into a brand. So these are 3 areas that we're going to be talking about today: learning goals, performance goals, and personal goals. And I want you to write these down because this is going to help you get fortified moving into 2021. You cannot move into a hostile environment without a plan. And I think anyone would agree that 2020 was a hostile environment. Economically, physically, biologically, emotionally, psychologically. It was one for the records. And if the history bears us any witness or gives us any kind of predictor, 2021 is going to be just as, if not more, hostile, volatile. You can't say what's going to happen, but you can say who you are and what you're going to do within the context of. So you cannot put a thermometer to the content, but you can put a thermometer to the context. There's a difference. All right. So learning goals, performance goals, and personal goals. Let me give you guys an idea of what this looks like. So learning goals. Start your year with goals that serve your future vision. In order to set goals, you must first have a life vision. What is your life vision? What are you here for? What is your life's main or sole purpose? What is your reason for being? What is your purpose? Why are you here? What do you feel like you were sent to do? If you're on this call, a part of that has to be business, branding, communications, relationships, leadership. You're going to help people. This is servant leadership. We are in a service profession industry. Service profession, whether it's financial services, credit restoration, real estate, coaching, speaking, that's service. This is a service economy. So I'm speaking from that context. If your content is different, then your goals will be different. But it's all relational. It's all relative. So in proportion to your content, I want you to set goals according to your context. So in this content, let's say your life vision is to free as many people as you can from a life that they don't own or cannot direct. You've taken it on yourself personally to see that people become economically solvent or economically stable or economically fruitful in an environment where most people are subject to other people's whims. So if that is your content, then these goals may exist in your context. Learning about branding and positioning. If you're in this context, if your business is based in services, if you're on this call, you know my name is Sean Raiz, and I'm the king of branding and positioning. There's a reason why you're here. So this is something that you will probably want to look into. Branding and positioning. You will also want to look into Facebook ads so you can realize how to drive traffic. If you do this right, guys, when you do those Facebook ads correctly, $10 turns into $100. $5 turns into $20. It's really the baseline of investing in yourself. How much do you believe? How much do you have to learn to understand? This takes time. You can't just throw $1 into cryptocurrency and get a result. It takes time. You have to learn. You have to study. Same thing as having a bachelor's degree, master's degree, PhD, even an associate's degree. In order for you to step on the floor, you have to be credentialed. You have to be qualified. Some people are trying to make money and they're not qualified. They're mad because no one's giving them the time of day, but they haven't given themselves the time of day to become qualified. Creating landing pages to receive the traffic and convert. If you've got the traffic, if you bring the traffic, what are you going to do with the traffic? What are you going to do with them really? If you had a client that was ready to pay you $100,000 a month, would you be able to sustain that? What would the value be that you would have to serve that client with? What would you come up with? What would be your offer? What would be your value? Or would they immediately ask for their money back? Another goal that you could have in this context is to learn all there is to know about copy so that you can craft copy that converts. Everybody wants a conversion. Everybody wants a sale, but their posts are sloppy. Their posts are sloppy. Their pictures are sloppy. They're asking for $50,000, but they don't look like $5. They're not investing $5 in themselves. How is that possible? This is what I mean when I say we're putting the cart before the horse and we're trying to force a square into a circular hole. We're trying to force a square peg into a circular hole. You're bringing disgrace or dishonor to an otherwise honorable profession, and this is why people disassociate from you, because you're conducting business other than professional. There are set standards, and you need to learn those standards so that your offer can be seriously considered in the marketplace. And this is about brand. This is about brand efficacy. This is about brand equity. This is about brand reputation. Will your brand sustain or validate or verify your offer? Or does your offer invalidate, or does your brand invalidate the offer? So you can make an offer, somebody can seriously consider the offer, then go back and look at your brand, look at your website, look at the way your landing page is set up, click on a link, and when they find out that the link is broken, or they find words misspelled, or you might look disheveled because you trying to put the cart before the horse and you're not taking the proper time or investing the right kind of money to have your stuff edited, your brand invalidates the offer. Learning goals. 1 month, January, learning goals, 30 days. Performance goals. Once you have a life vision, you can structure a learning and performance strategy around it. Once you have a life vision, you can structure a learning and performance strategy around it. So this is an example of performance goals for 1 month, for 30 days, for the first 30 days of 2021. If you're in professional services, if you're a coach, if you're a speaker, if you're a consultant, if you're trying to provide credit restoration, if you're trying to provide real estate services as a contractor, shoot 3 videos a week and publish 2. Shoot 3 videos a week and publish 2. Book 3 calls per week, but don't keep trying to DM your auntie. Don't keep trying to look up people that you went to school with. I know when you're a kid, they tell you not to speak to strangers, and that's good for your safety because everybody doesn't have the right mindset. But when you're an adult, when you're in the business of sales, you have to speak to strangers. This is how you get customers, new clients. You can't convert your cousins over and over and over again, and you can't resell, upsell, and try to cross-sell the same customers or the same clients because they're going to stop being your clients because you're constantly trying to resell, upsell, and cross-sell. You have to go into new territory. You have to be comfortable speaking to strangers. Absolutely mandatory. It doesn't work any other way. Business is business. It takes what it takes, and it takes you to get out of your comfort zone. Business doesn't, your revenue doesn't matter. The IRS doesn't matter if you're an introvert or an extrovert. The landlord doesn't care that you're an introvert or that you're an extrovert and you might rub people the wrong way, and instead of seeing you as assertive and driven, they see you as aggressive and disrespectful. The landlord doesn't care about that. It doesn't affect the cost of tea in China. You have to speak to strangers. These are not, we cannot conduct ourselves as business professionals when we're playing by kids' rules. Oh, I don't feel comfortable speaking to strangers. Oh, I just don't feel comfortable. Oh, I just don't. Welcome to the wonderful world of adulthood. And in this context, welcome to the wonderful world of post-COVID, post-pandemic. Now you have to speak to people. Now you have to be a personal brand. And if you are not, good luck. This is a new world economy. So another performance goal that you could have is to start a live where you add value to your ideal client. People all the time, Sean, how did you do it? What did you do? I'm trying to learn. What did you do? I don't understand what you did. All I did was stood up. I went live. I tell them to do the same thing that I did. Go live and add value. Don't go live and try to be me. Don't go live and try to be E. Don't go live and try to be who you're not. Go live and be you. Talk about what you are official in, what you really know, and what you could really do. We look good or sound good because we're talking about something that we know. When you try to stand up and speak about something that you don't know, you don't look sweet in the marketplace. You don't. And if I try to stand up and speak about Bitcoin, I would look crazy because I don't know that industry. I don't know that content nor context. I would be speaking out of context. Every word that I stated would be out of context. And I would lose customer attention. I would lose customer attention in the first 5 minutes because it would be obvious that I didn't know what I was talking about. So if you're incongruent, if your words don't match your last 20 years or 30 years or 10 years in the marketplace, it's easily detectable. And it's just your desperation that renders it not obvious because you're everything you see is kind of gray. It's like you're living in a cloud and you can't see yourself. But the people that are not responding to you are not responding to you because it doesn't seem like you have clarity or authenticity. So that add value piece is very important. You can't add my value to your customer base, and I can't add your value to mine. So when I say add value, be authentic and add value. That's exactly what I did, and it resonated with people. And when you do that, it will resonate with people. It may not resonate with the same people because we don't do the same thing. Another influencer's audience is not my audience. Remember how I started this? CYA, BYA. Build your audience. That's how you're going to cover your blank, by building your audience based on your value. Personal goals. Now, be sure not to forget to grow yourself while growing the brand. This is another place where people get so harried. They're so fervent. They're so furiously trying to build their business, build their brand, acquire customers, close more calls, learn how to post here, learn how to do that, that they're forgetting about themselves. And when somebody weighs their brand feel real light and real shallow because that's all a person is doing, and they're not growing themselves. The brand is you. The brand is you. So if you don't grow, it doesn't grow. Hathaway, Warren Buffett's business grows because he grows. General Electric grew because Jack Welch grew. He grew himself. He invested in his learning, his personal and professional development. Not only professional, but personal. The expansion of the brand was based on the expansion of the individual. Write that down. Write that down. The expansion of the brand is based on the expansion of the individual. If you don't grow, your business won't grow. So, personal goals, here's a few of them. I hope you're following me and writing down your own to correlate your content and your context. Spend more time with the spouse. If you're married, spend time with the person that you're married to. Don't just try to build your business. Because when you get divorced, or when that spouse walks out on you, or when they're found being what you would call unfaithful, but you were unfaithful to the marriage or the relationship to begin with, when it looks like they're cheating on you, but you cheated on them by never paying them any attention, your clients are going to be able to tell. Your next post, the next post that you post, is going to speak, it's going to reek of your relationship turmoil. So keep that right. Keep that right. Start working out regularly again. That's another thing. People so beat on the brand. They're trying to get the brand right that they forget to beat on themselves and take care of themselves. Restricting carbs and sugar from diet. Now, these don't have to be yours. These are just examples of personal goals. Set some. People start making a little bit of money, they lose themselves. They lose their weight. They lose their shape. They lose their discipline. They lose their conversation. They lose their humility. They lose their discipline. They lose their respect and their reputation in the marketplace. Sometimes success is the worst thing that can happen. So sometimes your lack of success might actually be your salvation. But you don't understand that. You just mad and you scared. You scared because it's an uncertain economy and it's uncertainty all around you. I understand. But losing yourself is not the answer. Trying to take on someone else's value is not the answer. Being desperate and just posting for the sake of posting is not the answer. Sometimes, and in this state, less is more if you're not clear. Does everybody understand where we're at right now? Put it in the chat if this makes sense. if you've got some goals down, if you've been able to follow along, if you've written down some goals, if this resonates with you, if it makes sense, if you're going to be able to implement this, if you've been able to follow me and write down some personal goals, some learning goals, and some performance goals, let me know so I can move forward. If you need further clarity, let me know in the chat and I will provide further clarity. Okay, it looks like everybody, okay, so good. All right, so everybody's following. Good. I want everybody to follow. I don't want to, it's of dire importance that you get this right because your family is watching you. Your children are watching you. Your clients are watching you. Your community is watching you. As a representative, when you stand up and when just standing up, people begin to watch you and calculate your moves. When you make certain statements and say, I'm a this or I'm a that, or I'm a thought leader in this field, or this is my content, or I'm a leader, when you stand up, you take a leadership role and you begin to be watched. Your moves are calculated. Your moves are scrutinized. Long before anybody responds to your post, they watch you. They watch you for a long time before they like, share, comment on anything. So you are being watched. When you think, just when you think nobody's paying you attention, you should be thinking the exact opposite. And just be calm in that. Be calm in the fact that it takes time to get a conversion. You have to convince before you convert. Write that down. You have to convince before you convert. Everybody's looking for the conversion. Everybody's looking for the sale. People are looking for the solution before the sale. So it's the solution before the sale, and it's the convincing and conviction. Convince with conviction before the commitment and the conversion. If you could follow that, write that down too. It's the convincing with conviction before the commitment and the conversion. Don't look for the cart before the horse. You're trying to push the sale, but the sale comes on the back of the solution. Give the people the solution first. You're trying to withhold the best part. How are people going to know what your package looks like if you don't give them samples, if you don't give them value? People say, Sean, how much do I give away for free? As much as I do. As much as I do. If you want the kind of success and response that I'm getting, give away at least as much as I do, and I don't hold anything back. My lives are 3 hours long sometimes. I give value until the last person is gone and the last question gets answered. Why? Because I'm authentic. This is really who I am. It's not just what I do. Because the brand is you and you are the brand. What are your standards? So that's 30 days. It's going to 60. When you hit 60 days, when you hit the end of February, you got January, it's 30. February, it's 30. The end of February, when you hit 60 days, you deepen the goals that you have. If new circumstances have arisen, then you pivot. If not, you deepen the impression. Repetition deepens the impression. One more time. Repetition deepens the impression. So sometimes you'll hear me repeat myself. It's not because I have a tick or because I don't notice it. People have said it to me a lot of times. Sean, do you notice that you repeat yourself? Of course I do. Repetition deepens the impression. If they didn't get it the first time, maybe they'll get it the fifth. But I'm going to say it over and over again because it'll stick longer than if I just say it once and hurry up and pass on to the next thing. So when I say something that I deem of much value, I'll repeat it so that you can hear it again and it can sink itself into your subconscious if your wrist wasn't fast enough to write it. I give you another chance to do so. Remember that you are creating a new world. Your brand, your business, your client, the coach and client alliance. That is a new world. That is a new world. Your relationship is a new life. You speak to a client it's not the first time. Whenever you get on a call with a client or you come in contact with a client, they have been in contact with your brand for weeks. They've been in contact with your brand for months. They've heard of you, and now they're finally coming around to you. They have scrutinized you. They have watched you. They have followed you. They have made a decision in their minds. And when they finally come to you and you have a conversation, that is like a child. That is like a newborn. That is a new world. Because now they're introducing themselves to you. That's vulnerability. It's like walking up to someone in a club. Hey, I like the way you when you came in here, I was watching you. I was feeling the way you move. Now, I was waiting for you to get alone so I would have the opportunity to speak to you. What's up? That's what's happening. They've been watching you for a while. They might have seen you in the same place for the last month. And now they feel like, okay, I can speak to them. I can trust to have the conversation. Understand that. It's not out of the blue. No matter how desperate you might be for money, no matter how desperate you might be for a sale, I want you to look at it just like that, because that's what it truly is. It's someone trusting you to have a conversation. It doesn't have to be a slam bam sale immediately. It takes time. Relationships are nurtured. Very few long-lasting, sustainable relationships. Now look at the difference. Sustainable relationships are relationships that start off slow. Relationships that are like one-night stands are just that. It's superficial. It's artificial. It's usually not as deep. It's definitely not as fulfilling. And it's over before it even starts. So you determine what kind of relationship you want to have with your prospects, with your clients, with your business. What is your brand experience? Who are you as a brand? What are your morals, values, and principles? So every 30 days, your goals should be more intense and more narrow. More narrow. We start wide and we narrow and deepen as we grow, or you niche down as you go. People flirt around, date around, and then when they're ready to settle down, they make decisions. As an adult in this context, oh man, it is very serious that you mature fast. It is so serious that you mature fast. People are catching this thing just by sharing the same space. So a lot of relationships have become a lot more loyal during COVID, to say the least. I'm just giving you context. Like, I don't go out, but I can imagine that the club is not what the club used to be. The night scene is not what the night scene used to be. There was curfew for a year. Right? So you gotta stop. You can't go narrow. You gotta, shorten that. You can't go wide. You have to go narrow, and you have to deepen. So if your choices and your decisions are to have a business and to do this, then you have to go deep and not go wide. You're just trying to hustle and make a quick lick, and you all over the place instead of going wide and becoming the master of your craft. So again, here's back to the learning goals. Number one, create a brand plan and begin to put the #1. If you went through Branded Like a Leader, you know #1 is world on notice. We have our own language, our own lingo, our own culture. One of them is to put the world on notice. You can't do that if you don't have a plan. You would rather not put the world on notice if you all over the place. You'd rather not people hear your brand, know your brand, or pay it, don't make too much noise if your stuff ain't together because you're looking sloppy and people are going to remember that. So another learning goal that, remember, we're based on the last ones. So we're going deeper into the 30-day with the 60-day. So optimizing now. But remember, you learned about landing pages. Now you're optimizing the landing page for launch. For launch, I'm giving you a shortcut solution. I'm giving you a blueprint. So here you optimize your landing page for launch of program, course, value, offer, whatever that looks like for you in your context. And you finalize the copy for sales conversion. Remember, 30 days ago, you were learning all there was to know about it. You were reading books, you were watching tutorials, you were watching videos. Now you're finalizing copy for the sale conversion and learning how to close through written words. That's a learning goal. You have to learn that. You have to learn that. If you don't have the money to pay for it, and even if you have the money to pay for it, it's better that you know at least what's supposed to be done so people don't burn through your budget and then you wake up and there's no conversions and no more budget. It's a new economy. You got to watch your bottom line. BYA. You want to CYA? Build your own audience. Performance goals. Whatever we do, it should become more dynamic, responsive, and diversified than before. And it should be focused on a specific result. So before, where we spoke to 3 people a week and they were strangers, now you want to speak to 7 strangers a week and close 2. We're becoming more linear, more streamlined, more results-oriented. So another performance goal would be to launch your Facebook group now. So now you started in the marketplace, you started giving lives. Now you bring the people who were coming to your lives into your own world in the same place. So now you're doing 2 things. And that's where number 3 comes in. When you add another live to add momentum to the momentum you already have and value. I'm giving you a blueprint. That has worked. It's proven successful. You see me doing it right now. If you're watching this is this performance goal in action. As a matter of fact, we're doing another live, guys. We're starting another live in 3 days. 3 days will be the launch of Breakfast with the Brand, 8 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday. For those people who find 4 o'clock in the morning a little bit inconvenient, for those people who find 5 o'clock on Saturday, it's a little bit inconvenient because they're with their family, they're trying to relax. Usually when you wake up with your cup of coffee, it's around 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock for some. Well, 8 o'clock, this brand will be doing a new live called Breakfast with the Brand. So I'm just showing you that I'm doing what I'm telling you, and this is why I'm getting the results that I get. So if you listen to this and you see it and you choose not to do it, then I can't be held accountable for your results. But if you do as I say and as I show, you will have results. And those results can be verified and guaranteed. Okay? So launch your Facebook group, speak to 7 strangers a week. You will close 2 by 60 days of practicing. You will find a way to, and then add another live to add momentum and value. And then number 4, remember we said to shoot 3 videos a week and publish 2. Now launch your YouTube channel with regular automation. What does regular automation mean, Sean? Regular automation means that you are placing your videos in YouTube a week before, a day before, or even a month before, you drop them. Set up the automation so that people can rely on it, bet on it. I remember when Eric started doing Thank God It's Monday, and how the world waited for Mondays. It was the strangest thing in the world. Thank God It's Monday. It was a disruption. Everybody said Thank God It's Friday. He came out with Thank God It's Monday, and people looked for it 3:30 every morning because it dropped at the same time. That's automation. That's training. Train people how to treat you when they meet you. If you can't train yourself, what do you expect from someone else? If you're undisciplined, their payments will be too. If your investment to yourself is unsolidified and undisciplined, and you can't bet on yourself, and you can't rely on yourself, and sometimes you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, other times you wake up at 9 o'clock in the morning, other times you wake up at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. How do you expect people to show up for a call when they tell you they're going to show up for a call if you can't show up for yourself? Automation, patterns, structure, performance goals. What about personal goals at this point? So with everything else that's going on, we still grow ourselves. In proportion to everything else, we are working to grow. So a lot of people say, well, I don't have time to run anymore. Not true. Not true. I don't have time to spend time with family. Not true. Not true. I don't have time to read anymore. Now you're about to fall off the edge. Now you're about to fall off the edge. We must never forget the importance of our personal development. Why? Because nothing works without it. Why do you think nobody says professional and personal services? The personal comes before the professional. You have to grow the individual before the individual can grow the business. Before the business can become a brand, the individual has to become a responsible person first. You have to optimize my first book is called The 7 Prerequisites to Success, Pathways to Paramount Performance. It is a book based on personal development, personal mastery, human optimization. You have to become an optimal human being before you can become a successful business. People whose personal lives are scattered, they can't sustain a functional business model for any amount of time. It may look good for a moment, or it may look good on the surface, but once you get inside of it, you find out that the services are disconnected and they're not too ethical. And you send emails with no response, and all of a sudden the influencer disappears. How many people have gone through that? Worked with brands that looked phenomenal on the outside, but when you got inside, you found it was a box full of rocks. This happens based on people's personal goals. So a couple more personal goals. Meditate. In this time, in a time of, you could almost say, biological warfare, diet, meditation, preserving your emotional state, emotional intelligence. That's priceless right now. Think about the saying, health is wealth. Millionaires are dying from this stuff. They just talked about a lawmaker, policymaker in a state. I just glanced it. But a politician certainly had a nice bank account, the bread was up, but we looking for the wrong things, because right now health is wealth, and a lot of the wealthy people that are unhealthy are at risk. What would you rather have? If push came to shove, I'm sure you'd rather have your life than something to leave behind you. So your health is your wealth right now. As you're trying to build up your wealth, don't discredit the importance of your health. Meditate. These are all contingent on your own preferences, your own belief system, your own constructs, discipline levels, and levels of, where you're at. I'm giving you examples here. Create 3 examples here. That's why I'm giving you this pattern so that you can duplicate the model. You don't have to duplicate the content, but duplicate the model. So one example is meditating 20 minutes 2 times a day. Another one is to begin to journal daily. Another one would be a personal day would be to take one day completely off. When I say completely off, take the phone battery out the phone. Take a day off for your own sanity and well-being. Disconnect. Disconnect in order to reconnect and really be connected. Sometimes our phones are like our breath, and you would rather lose your breath than lose your phone, and that's not the way it should be. That's a backwards mentality, and it's dangerous. You have no clue the kind of thoughts that you would come up with if you put your phone down for 48 hours, 24 hours, and didn't touch it. You really don't know because you haven't had one day without the surrogate in your hand in the past 20 years, maybe 10 years, 15 years. Ever since cell phones came out, you had one and you ain't spent one day without one. So what would you really like? What would your brain work like? Not what would your day look like? What would your brain work like one day without looking at a screen? It's a personal goal. Your personal goals are meant to stretch you. If they don't sound uncomfortable, they're not deep enough. They should be uncomfortable. They should create new worlds. They should create new grooves in your brain. It should not be easy because easy is pattern, easy is predictable, easy is regular, easy is routine. I created this 4:00 morning call so that it wouldn't be regular and it wouldn't be comfortable and it would be disruptive. So you're learning just by being here. Everybody hears about this call and they're like, what? You do a call at 4:00 in the morning? They're learning. I'm coaching them immediately, whether they ever show up or not. I have coached them and I have stretched their brain to wrap around a concept that is unconventional. You can thank me for it later. "90 days. In 90 days, you should have a norm formed. A norm is write this down. A norm is a predictable automatic response due to repetition, otherwise known as a habit. In 90 days, you should have a norm formed. A norm is a predictable automatic response due to repetition, otherwise known as a habit. What do the learning goals, performance goals, and personal goals look like here? So this is literally after January, February, and March. So on the 1st of April, what should be, you should go so much deeper. You should be able to look back at your goals for January, your first 30 days, and be like, wow. Started from the bottom, now we here. Wow, look at how far we've come. Look at how far we've come. If you build on the goals that you set before and you don't try to do what everybody else is doing, and you don't try to just change your brand or change your business model because you ain't go from crickets to digits in 50 minutes and it looked like it was going to take some work like it's supposed to take. And you just dropped your business model and picked up someone else's twice, 3 times, 4 times, every week, every month. If you build on what you're building, if you continue to lay bricks on top of bricks, one brick at a time is where a building is built. Imagine if you try to build a wall with 3 bricks, and then you go try to build another wall with 3 bricks, and then you go and try to build another wall with 3 bricks. You know what you got? 3 bricks in every direction. That's it. You don't have anything. You don't have anything. And until you have discipline, consistency, and patience, vision, you will never have anything. You'll have a million little 3 brick statues. a bunch of it'll look, you know what it'll look like? It'll look like you are out of your mind. So when you come to someone with your new little 3 brick statue and you're like, hey, listen, invest in my thing. This is what I'm doing now. You look crazy. You look crazy. You look insane. And no one wants to work with insane, and ain't nobody giving no money to crazy. Except people who might be a little bit crazier. But you won't find a lot of them. And that's why your money won't be consistent, and you'll never really build a business, because the lifeblood of business is revenue. The lifeblood of brand is reputation. And you have the reputation of someone who starts and stops, someone who adopts other people's models, someone who is unauthentic, someone who can't be relied upon, someone who doesn't know whether they're coming or going. So how can a client take you on or accept you as their leader when you are inconsistent? It says to them, if they really look at your track record and they go back 5 months, 4 months, they're going to be like, wow, what can I hope to get from this relationship? What can I hope to get from this? This person has changed their business name and business model 5 times in the last year. Nothing is consistent. They don't even have anything. They don't even have a YouTube channel. I can't even go binge watch their stuff because they're not even present. Some of your clients would probably be better off coaching you, coaching the coach. The coach might need a coach. So let me say this. Every coach needs a coach. Every consultant needs to be consulted, and every speaker needs to be spoken to. The only question is to what degree. Learning goals, 90 days. Every month your learning should compound, meaning that your learning should further your prior learning, link, and add value. If you're continuing to start and stop, then you'll never get to 6 bricks. You'll never get to 6 bricks. And I'm trying to say that in the most simple way possible. You'll never get to a consistent stream of income. You'll never begin to build a community. You'll never be able to have a functional fan base. Your brand will never you'll never have brand recognition. So if we're working with the same systems and you have been consistently following through on your goals for month 1 and month 2, then moving from month 3 into month 4, your goals look different now. Now you need to learn how to automate your systems, because now you have systems that you've been learning consistently. Now you need to learn all there is to know about business and how to scale, because if you've done everything that we talked about, now you've got a stream of income. So now you've got a business. And now you need to learn how to scale that business. Business owners, number 3, business owners never stop being a student of leadership. Learn all there is to know about leadership and never stop. And that's kind of like a trick answer or a trick statement or a conundrum. It kind of folds into itself. It's a circle of a statement, because you'll never learn all there is to know about leadership. And that's why you never stop. Business ownership is about leadership. Business success is about leadership. Success as an individual is about being able to lead yourself. So it's about leadership. Being able to successfully lead anyone else as a client or a coworker or an employee or a CFO is about leadership. It's all about leadership. It is all about leadership. So if you're trying to, if you find yourself working on a worthy ideal, the progression of a worthy ideal for 90 days, you're going to have something. You're going to have something. I don't know what it'll be, but you'll have something. And at some point, you will have to duplicate yourself. At some point, you will have to delegate roles to other people so you can concentrate on higher revenue generating activities. We outsource or we delegate lower revenue generating activities as leaders so we can concentrate on higher revenue generating activities. If you don't do this, you will never scale. And you will never successfully do this unless you know a lot about leadership. It is all about leadership. So I hope I've given you some topics to read on. I hope I've given you some things to look at and some things to work with. Because the journey of effective leadership should have started a year ago. And if it hasn't, then you need to start now. And if your business is not doing what it looks like you would like it to do, it has something to do with leadership. It has something to do with leadership. It has everything to do with you. So stop worrying about the client, stop worrying about the people, stop worrying about your family, why they're not buying your thing. It is the thing that sells the thing. You saw my last post. It's the thing that sells the thing. Concentrate on the leadership of you. Concentrate on your psychology. Because all success are 80% psychology and 20% strategy. Everything. All business success. Hitting a goal is 80% psychology, 20% strategy. And it's always the psychology of the leader. That is the trace or the tracking point or the point of origin for unsatisfactory results. Performance goals. If you're not growing, you're dying. I'm sure you've heard this before. You must aim for strategic growth every day, week, month, quarter, and year. You must aim for strategic growth. What does strategic growth look like? It is growth that is dictated by a plan. It is growth that does not happen by coincidence. And that is any growth that takes place outside of convention or strategy. If it's organic, it's not sustainable without a plan. So you can get a quick lick or a quick flash of success outside of strategy, but then you must immediately curtail it and rein it in and structuralize it. Build the strategy around it, or it will not be sustainable. It will not be sustainable. It becomes unpredictable as soon as it begins. As soon as it begins to wane. It will hit a critical mass. So it will hit a high rise, and then it will begin to descend. This is why structure has to be wrapped around it, and new strategies have to be implemented every day, week, month, quarter, and year. So here are some performance goals building on the performance goals that we had before. Now we've gone from, the speaking to strangers and the closing to the enrolling, the onboarding of no less than one client a week, leveraging systems to automate processes. So now you're getting some of your free time back. Now you never operate out of brand. So if you look around, you'll never see me with a blue shirt on, black shirt on, because I'm in brand. I stay in brand. Think about other influencers. What do they look like? What do they always have? What is their brand? Do you ever see them outside of their brand? No. Do you have a brand? What is your look? What do you stay appearing in or with? And if you don't have one, then people cannot relate to you in the same light as they relate to me, or they relate to someone who does always wear a specific thing or look a certain kind of way or have a trademark appearance. Write that down. Trademark appearance. What is your trademark appearance? What does your brand resemble? And once you decide on it, you stick to it and you never get caught outside of it. Because you're always on brand. And number 4, and this is probably the most important. Not probably, this is the most important. Create strategic alliances to ensure your success. Create strategic alliances to ensure your success. If you're not a millionaire, it's just because you haven't been exposed to a millionaire concept or construct or context. Invest up. Invest up. A lot of times we try to save money and make investments that are downward. Investments that we can afford. When you make investments that you can afford, it puts you in the same place that you've been. Because how do you think you're going to make an investment that doesn't challenge you, shape you, change you, stretch you, make you look for more money to pay for it, and then expect your life to change from it? If you're investing down, then your results are going to be down. If you're investing laterally, see, if you invest downward, then you're going to water down where you're already at. So you will be moving in a downward progression, in a downward slope. If you invest laterally, which means right across from where you are, then you're going to stay where you're at. It is only when you invest up that you go up. Because people who know things that you don't know exist in a higher tax bracket and their prices are higher. It's the movement of the market. If you want to move up, then move up. If you want to stay where you're at, keep your investments where you're at. And if you want to move down and lose ground, then invest in what is easily affordable. But my best advice and the best coaching that I could give you is to create strategic alliances to ensure your success. Strategic alliances are with people who have been where you're trying to go, are where you're trying to go, and are moving in the direction that you would like to move in. People who have started before you and people who are winning. And if they're winning in this unstable economy, hold on. Hold on and don't let go. Because things can take a drastic change at any moment in this stuff. And you want to be on it. You want to be on a ship that's solid. So I want you to understand this, and I want you to understand this last. I said this in the beginning, but I made a point to write it down and give it to you again. No one gives away money for free. No one gives away money for free. Stop looking for free money, guys. Stop looking for free money. A lot of people that are going to come across this, because I'm going to leave it up. A lot of people that are going to come across this post, this video, need to get their mind right and their values straight. Need to get their mind right about what this really is. This is professional services, and it is held to a high ethical standard. See, everybody didn't come through ways of college. Like, everybody didn't come through a college education, but in college you learn ethics. In college you learn formality. In college you learn form and structure and arts. Like, you learn some things that are valid in this space. This is application. I understand the difference between theory and application, but there's a basis and a need and a purpose for theory within application. And it is to add form, ethics, and structure to an otherwise almost unpredictable situation. When everything is organic and everything is free form, it's hard to be checked. So it's like everybody can do whatever you want. That's like a world without laws. I don't think anybody wants that. As much as we can say we don't agree with this form of law or this policy, I don't think anyone wants to live in a world that is absolutely free from law, or where everybody can do what they want to. That's just not sustainable. So stop thinking that you can just do anything, say anything, or just come out with an idea today and make $1 million tomorrow. No one gives away money for free. Stop thinking that any person is going to give their hard-earned money to a regular person for being regular. You have to become more than the average. You have to grow yourself. And if you're under pressure right now, if you're confused right now, if you're bewildered right now, if you don't understand what I'm saying right now, you're listening at least. And that proves that speaks to your credibility. It speaks to your credence. It speaks to your desire to become more than you are. And right now in this space, you have to do more, to be more, and to have more. So you're in the right place. You're in the right place. Continue to follow, like, share, tag somebody that you know who needs to hear this. Tag somebody who's trying to be an entrepreneur, but just don't have their ethics right on 100%. Like, they're not really sure what they're doing. Tag them in the comments and let them come watch this video so that they might be enlightened, and they might be able to put together a brand plan for 2021. And if you want to go further into this, tag me in the comments. We respond to all inquiries. We have an ethical brand. We have a sustainable brand. We have not just come out of nowhere, and we went from crickets to digits in the midst of the pandemic, but that was 20 years in the making. So we are not an overnight success, right? So a couple more personal goals before we go. And thank you for staying. It is now 5:25, and I greatly appreciate your presence and your resilience, because these calls are not hard. I give coaching that grows people, coaching that hurts, coaching that challenges. So your personal goals now should look something like you've come somewhere, you've hit some goals. In 90 days, you should hit some high points that condition or that substantiate, that justify taking a vacation. Set some personal goals. It's not all about business. It's not. As much as we get caught up in the whirlwind of it, and see, this is why you need to put your phone down, because somebody's posting everywhere all the time. So at 4:00 in the morning, it's 4:00 in the afternoon somewhere. So instead of you saying, "Oh, it's 4:00 in the morning, I ain't got no business being on Facebook," in your mind, you're saying somebody's posting. I gotta post. I gotta put something out there. You don't. Take a vacation. Take a vacation. Drink some water. Detoxify. Get away from that stuff sometimes. Start getting more rest. I know we always talk about waking up at 3:00 in the morning, waking up at 2:00. I literally went to rest probably 11:30, 12 o'clock almost. Got up at 2 o'clock, 2:30 today, but not every day. Because if you do it every day, you're going to burn out. So get some rest. Get some rest. Yes, we are more. We are not regular. We are not regular. We do things that most people do not. That's why this is called the alien call. But you can't be an alien all the time. You have to be human too. Come down to earth, hug your children, help them with their book reports. Start writing your book. It's another personal goal. Everyone on this call, everyone listening to this call has a book inside of them, a testimony, an opportunity to share their legacy. Put your pen to the paper. Put your pen to the paper. Again, these are just examples, examples of personal goals. I don't want you to write down the same personal goal, but I do want you to have goals. Hopefully now you have learning goals, you have performance goals, and you have personal goals for the first quarter of 2021. That was the goal for this entire presentation. Thank you. My name is Sean Wright East, and this is what we do. This is what we do every day. This is who we are. This is what I do every day. My job is to prepare you. My job is to inform you. I have taken on the role of being your coach, whether you are a paying client or not. Paying clients get much more attention, much more vision, much more strategy, much more goal enrichment. But before they became a paying client, I gave them free value. So I'm showing you, not just telling you, I am showing you the results from giving away value for free. There's no such thing as free value. Everyone on this call had to invest their time. And let me tell you one thing, time is worth more than money. So I hope you've enjoyed this alien call with us. Again, my name is Sean Wright East. If you have somewhere to go, please be you are relinquished. Be free to go about your way. We are going to stick around for a moment and have some conversation on the context, on the concepts, and on the constructs that you have just been introduced to. So if you want to stick around for that, this is when we do that. I hope you've enjoyed yourself. Welcome to the Alien Call. So this is when I ask for comments, feedback. What are your thoughts, suggestions, opinions?
This was amazing, Sean. Like, it was so clear. It was so fruitful, so supportive. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's worth every waking moment. So
Thank
I really
you.
want to say thank you so much for that. You didn't have to break it down the way you did, but you did.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so
And it
much.
was received. Thank you.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. That fills my bowl. Thank you so much. Yes, ma'am. Anyone else? Oh, let me ask you this first. Do you have yours?
Yes. Yes.
Good.
And even better
Fantastic.
now.
Very good. Very
I
good.
believe in my plan now.
Fantastic. That's the goal, and that's the reason we do this. Fantastic. Anyone else? Comments, suggestions, opinions, feedback? Nothing?
I
Ev-
just love.
okay.
I always enjoy listening to your calls, and it just every time I listen or come in, it's like, dang, he was in my brain because everything you say is always in alignment. I'm always searching for that. Like, is it in alignment with what I'm doing? Because if it's not in alignment, I can't, waste time or energy to be honest on it. But it's always in alignment. So, one of the things as you was talking, I was googling Amazon, landing pages for dummies, and like Google ads and things like that. I've been researching, how to do Google ads and things like that. So it was just always in alignment. I just appreciate that. And you always say it, but you really, really do always bring and add value. And so I appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Definitely. I'm glad you were able to take something from it, incorporate something that you learned, and walk it into action. It's important that we serve people to a high degree. It's important that we serve our clients to the highest degree possible. So I love that you are able to get value here, and then I just ask that you pay it forward and go into the world and give it away, and I know you will. Thank you. Anyone else?
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning,
I just
Latrell.
want to say thank you for this. Um, of course, once again, as always, the value that you give, and at certain times, wherever we are in our process, we catch them, a little bit different. So I want to thank you for this, because today it really helped me as I've started the process to prepare for the next phase for me, as I get ready for, the book launch and all of those things.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of really sets a good foundation for me to say, okay, don't allow myself to get so overwhelmed. But if I have these bricks to stand on for a moment, then as I go from month to month, I can say, okay, I've done this already. Now I can build on that there. I can build on that after the next 60 days and then the next 90 days. So for me, it's definitely allowed me to, because I think with these types of things, assessments, if you will, it's allowed me to say, okay, I have to be a little bit more self-conscious now of doing my assessments more often than I'm used to doing. Um, I don't just do them yearly as much. Like, I've learned to break them down sometimes whenever I find them necessary. But now, the way that you've talked about it this morning and before, it allows me to be, or all of us rather, to be more conscious of, okay, how did we do today? What did the brand do today? What did the business do? What did our life look like today? What did we accomplish? And
Definitely.
then pivot from there if necessary, or whatever adjustments we need to make to reach those goals. That's not an easy thing, because it's a conscious effort that we have to make to say, okay, how did today go? How did the week go? How did the month go? So for me, that's something that's going to really help me grow as I move into this next phase and in this next year coming. So, and that's
Very
going to take
good.
work. But I think I like, even as I prepare, going into this new year, like this week, making sure, okay, I have these bricks laid before I take my next steps. No, despite everything, I'm like, oh my God, I need to do this, that, and the third. Let me start here. Once this is set, then I can build on top of that. No matter what everything else around me may be floating, I
Exactly.
have to focus on what I need to do for me and my brand and my business first. And then
Very
I'll
good.
move on from there. So thank you.
Very good. Yes, ma'am. Brick by brick. That's how houses are built. Definitely. And you can't track what you can't measure. You can't track what you don't measure, rather. So some people are actually they're closer than they think, but since they're not tracking and they're not measuring, they don't know how close they are or how close they've come or how far they've come from where they were. So they just put down what they've got and they pick up something else that looks good for the moment. It's called flashy item or flash syndrome. Shiny object syndrome. The shiny object syndrome. Don't get caught up in that. Don't put down your bag of gold or bag of diamonds for someone else's fool's gold or plastic. Stay true to what you do. Therein lies your salvation. Therein lies your brand. Thank you. Anyone else before we go?
Sean, good morning.
Good morning.
Um, what I got from it was to pace myself. Even though I'm looking at 30, 60, 90, And the quarterly part of it, I'm still like managing capacity wise, like where I'm at and being realistic with that, right? So when we're looking at like the SMART goals, SMART objectives, like when you talk about that, I was like, you know what? I don't have to pressure myself to get some of these things done by March.
That's
I
right.
can pace myself and maybe my 30 days will start then, as opposed to, pressing more than I have the capacity to do so. So it kind of like mapped out it helped alleviate some of the pressure that I had.
Good.
So looking at it, I'm like, oh, well, I could actually scale back to scale out to make this a little bit more easier and more organized so that it can be as effective as I want it to be. So it just kind of gave me, well, not kind of, it gave me some clarity so that I can make sure that I can be as effective as I want to be.
Very good. Very good. Thank you. And you're welcome. Clarity is everything. Clarity is everything because you can be making a lot of progress in the wrong direction. So thank you for that. Definitely. Anyone else? Before we stop. Going once. See, we stick around till the last question is answered or the last comment is relayed. Going twice. My name is Sean Wright East. This has been your Alien Call, guys, the last Alien Call of the year. If you've been watching these, you've seen the progression. And I plan to, it is in my brand plan to continue to serve you to the highest degree possible in 2021 and beyond. Thank you so much for the honor and privilege to serve you. And we will be speaking so shortly. Walk into 2021 with a brand plan. If there's one thing that you do, put together a plan for 2021, or you'll be subject to someone else's plan for your life.